Hi guys, and we're back. Day 19, Body, Mind, Spirit Challenge. My name is Jim Standish, and I'm one of your co-hosts. So the past few days we've been talking about the Destiny card system. And I gave you the opportunity to look up your birth date and find out what your birth card was. I gave you the opportunity to sign up for a 16-day course, a free course, where you can learn an awful lot more about this system. And I hope you took advantage of that if it interests you. Now, I do understand that the tools, tips, and techniques that I'm sharing with you, not everything is going to be a fit for everybody. You may take one of these things and run with it. You may not take any of them and run with them. And some of these things may not even manifest for you for a month or 2 months or a year from now. You may decide to get interested in it. So that's why I had you create a workbook. I want you to write these things down so that you can revisit the workbook as time goes on. So, Destiny card system, extremely accurate tool for self-understanding, and as you get to learn the system and practice with the system, it can be a really great tool to understand other people. If you're in a new relationship, or you have a new boss, or a new business colleague, and you're hanging with them. A week goes by, a couple weeks, couple months, and you get their birth date, and you go home and you look it up, and it is absolutely amazing. Sometimes amazing to me how accurate that system is in describing people with their traits. And if anything, it gives us more empathy and understanding for other people. Not only for understanding ourselves, but helping us to understand other people and perhaps why they are the way they are and why they do the things they do. And if we understand that, they're being influenced by planetary bodies and all these, external influences, that it just gives us a little bit more understanding, a little bit more empathy. And hey, let people be the way they're going to be. If somebody's being a jerk to you, if your boss is being a jerk, let him being a jerk. Just be true to yourself and don't worry about other people. So we're going to move on to the I Ching. The I Ching is comprised of what is known as hexagrams, and there are 64 hexagrams. There are 64 bits in your computer. There are 64 strands in your DNA. Fairly significant number. And the hexagrams are comprised of lines, and they're solid lines and dashed lines that represent gates, open gates and closed gates. And each one of the hexagrams is presented as a contemplation. And what I use this for is really for understanding the now. And a lot of people do use this as a divination tool, understanding the future. I would much rather craft my future myself with my own thoughts rather than get predictive and start interpreting things myself. If somebody uses one of these systems and interprets that system, you got to understand that they're filtering information, so their interpretation is theirs, may not necessarily be yours, and that's why I prefer to teach people how to use this themselves, especially with the I Ching. I have people that write to me all the time and say, "Oh, do a reading for me," and I explain to them how to do a reading for themselves, because it is your energy. Now, again, what I use this for is to help understand the now. So if you have a question that has a lot of emotion behind the question, the more emotion, the better, and the more accurate this is going to be. So down below, pull out your handout, and it looks a little bit like this. All right, so pull that out, and you will see some pennies. Now, you got to find something, speak much, you got to find something that works for you. I use pennies. You can use nickels, quarters, dimes, it doesn't really matter. You can use anything that has a face side and a non-face side. And you need 3 of them. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to toss coins and create a hexagram. And there's a lower trigram, so there's 1, 2, 3 in the lower trigram, and an upper trigram, 1, 2, 3 in the upper trigram. So for today, just for your homework today, I want you to find some coins. Don't have to be coins. Find something that works for you. I got into pennies only because the book that I'm going to recommend to you, the I Ching Workbook by R.L. Wing, I think you can get it for $20 on Amazon. Great translation for Westerners. I'm a Westerner. I was born in the West. That particular workbook works really well for me. I have been using it for an extremely long time. I'm going to say at least 35 years. And I do not consult it to find out what flavor ice cream I'll be eating. I have used it fairly rarely. However, the questions that I was asking at the time were very pressing, very important questions to me, and they were filled with a lot of emotion. Therefore, the inquiry becomes a lot more accurate because there's a lot of fuel behind it. So I got into pennies. The author recommends pennies, and I got to the insane part of it, and I started collecting old pennies. Because old pennies prior to LBJ, I think LBJ, right after Kennedy was assassinated, rolled back an executive order about money. I don't want to get into the whole thing. However, pre-Kennedy coins, the pennies were actually copper, and we know that copper is an incredible conductor of electricity. So I wanted to find some solid copper pennies. So if you have a big vat of pennies, go through them. Try to find some old ones. Try to find some old pre-JFK 60s. Yeah. Okay, that's all. So that is your homework. Pull out the sheet. Just kind of understand. We're going to get into this. Okay, so just do a little bit of groundwork. Learn how to toss the coins. Learn what the combinations mean. 2 heads and a tail, 2 tails and a head. And the dotted line, that's after. So if you get 3 heads or 3 tails, that means it's a changing line. And that means that your contemplation is not fixed and it's changing. So, day 19, thanks for joining me. Pull that stuff out, and we're going to get into this tomorrow, day 20. Have a good one.